Everyone relax. You are back in the video store with me, Charlie Clausen, joined once again by the maestro of the movies, the pharaoh of the flicks, the sultan of cinema, Guy Davis. Welcome back to the store. This is part 3 of
Correct.
our Paul Verhoeven dystopian trilogy. Plus, we're going to throw in a couple extra films because we want to talk about them. We talked previous episodes about, obviously, Robocop, Total Recall, and now we move into the eerie fascistic future.
Oh.
I mean, is it really the future? Because
Not at all recognizable.
yeah, considering current events, this probably feels like the most kind of current vision of the future. The idea of a military power inflated with its own sense of self-importance and might, taking on an indigenous tribe of people or creatures. Well, I shouldn't say creatures. We're using metaphors. You know what I mean? I'm really getting lost in the weeds here. Starship Troopers, based on not Harlan Ellison. What's his
Robert Heinlein.
Robert Heinlein novel, which I believe he was a big pro-fascist. Well, not pro-fascist, but he was a big pro-military guy, right? Like he wrote this novel as a rah rah rah. Power and strength is good, right? Might makes right.
To the best of my understanding, and I'm not a big Heinlein guy, I've not read the Starship Troopers novel, but yeah, to the best of my understanding, it is very much might makes right. Yeah, let's go squash some bugs.
Yeah, I mean, which makes it the perfect material for Ed Neumeier and Paul Verhoeven to go, you know what? We're going to take the sentiment of that. We're going to hold a mirror up to society and we're going to show you exactly what this shit looks like. Of all the films that I have rewatched, like Robocop, it's a classic, brilliant. Total Recall, excellent fun, great stuff. We mentioned it's, that was probably the most enjoyable big blockbuster kind of like popcorn film. This one, I believe, has aged like the best. Like if you leave Robocop aside, Robocop is on its own island as a classic, but this film, especially considering how it was received at the time, and I very distinctly remember reading the reviews because I rushed out to see this at the cinema, quite enjoyed it, didn't get a lot of what was going on in it. Like it took a while for that to percolate, but I do remember reading the reviews and a lot of people, as often happens with Paul Verhoeven films, people seeing the sort of celebration of militarism and fascism and going, oh, it's a fascist film. It's a film that celebrates fascism, and missing the deeper subtext of what's going on in this film. But not only the themes of it, which are incredibly current in the world we live in now, but just the look of the film. Like the visual effects are astounding and hold up so well.
It's really at the tail end of where practical meets digital. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the last gasp of certain practical effects. So it's got that great look. So it still works in a lot of ways, but it also has a bit of a nostalgic feel to it as well. I mean, looking at all those shots of the starships, and it's like, these look like models. I mean, these look like they're actually sort of, but beautiful model work, just, painstaking, fastidious, beautifully put together and beautifully integrated with other optical effects and probably digital effects as well. So, I mean, that's, it works on both a practical level, is not the word I'm looking for, but it does the job, but it also operates as a bit of a nostalgic thing because we're talking about a movie that is coming up on 30 years old now. Yeah. So, back in 97 it would be like looking at something from 1969, or it'd be looking like
Harryhausen,
like Planet of the Apes or something.
Yeah, or Jason and the Argonauts or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's such an interesting film too because there's so many elements of it which are, in the same way I sort of mentioned when we talked about RoboCop that like I had this sort of thought that, wow, this is almost like a comedy. Like this is a sort of written like a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
There are elements of this film which are so like you take sort of the incredible visual effects and the really like pulse pounding action scenes and all that kind of stuff with this cast of the modern equivalent would be like WB, teen heartthrob actors who fairly limited in their range that look good on camera. And then having them slaughtered in a number of kind of horrific ways, essentially the story is about, Johnny Rico, this idealistic, not too bright kid who belongs to this militaristic society where, in order to earn citizenship, you have to do military service.
Yeah.
It's not, they don't really explore the greater world, but the idea is that at least this country, this sort of larger America, which is sort of standing for the world, I imagine, is in some kind of prolonged conflict with a distant planet run by arachnids, which, I mean, look, I don't want to split hairs, but they only have 4 legs. And from what I understand from high school biology, arachnids have 8.
You're going to get
Um,
pedantic on us. Okay.
yeah, a race of insect-like creatures
Mhm.
that seem to operate in a kind of hive system.
Well, that's this just sort of occurred to me, and I may well be wrong here, but that's sort of part of the whole what the story is trying to tell as well. The fact that they're misrepresenting these creatures, calling them arachnids when they're not actually arachnids, but
Yeah,
they've got to use
right.
a term. They've got to use a term that's going to inspire fear and loathing in us two-legged creatures. Like, what are you scared
Yeah.
of? You're scared of an arachnid. You're scared of a spider. We generally all are. So
I
yeah, I
never
mean
thought of that. You're
that's
right. That's probably what the point of that is.
this movie just keeps on giving.
It
Holy
just keeps on giving. So
Starship
we
Troopers, fantastic.
so we follow Johnny Rico, who's in
Mm.
love with Carmen, played by Denise Richards, the blandest, the blandest of the bland. But this is the thing,
Indeed.
right? Because that was one of the criticisms of the time, was like, well, you've got all these kind of 90210 type actors, and they're not very good, but that is specifically why they were cast, because Verhoeven was like, I wanted to make a film that sort of parodied the propaganda films of World War II, which is like, these bright young things who are
Yeah.
the Aryan race who are going to lead and establish a new world order and all this kind of stuff. And that's exactly what we get marketed to when we have these films made, these shiny young actors. But then
Oh, yeah.
taking Johnny Rico, this idealistic, good-looking kid, and then turning him into, like, starting him as a grunt and then turning him into a full-blown fascist by the end of the film. Like, it's really like it's almost like Johnny Rico Breaking Bad, really, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. What I love is that he keeps sort of failing upwards. I mean, he's not necessarily a bad soldier. I mean, he's got sort of leadership qualities and he's got drive and all
He
that
can
kind
do
of stuff.
backflips real good. That's the
He's
one thing I
capable.
claim.
Yeah, he's good with the 3-hole flip 6 or whatever they call it. You know, he keeps using the same play to keep winning at war. But the
Yeah.
other thing is, everyone above him keeps getting killed and he keeps getting promoted. I think it's
Yeah.
smart of Verhoeven. They make him just capable enough that it's not that the message isn't too obvious. It's like, oh, we're just going to keep promoting this guy because everyone above him keeps getting killed. It's like he's just good enough that he might do it on his own, but
Yeah.
everyone above him is just dead. So yeah, he just wins by attrition essentially.
Yeah.
By the way, one other thing I just want to point out real quick,
Yeah.
and it's easy to get lost in the weeds, as you said, or to go over the shop with this, but there's so many things in Starship Troopers. I love that these are characters from Buenos Aires in South America, yes, or Argentina.
Argentina.
Yeah. Johnny Rico, Carmen Ibanez, Dizzy Flores. These are the most white bread
Yes.
Latin American people I've ever seen in my life, played by Casper Van Dien, Denise
Yeah.
Richards,
He's
and
probably
Dina
Dutch,
Meyer.
right? Casper Van Dien, most likely
It
Dutch.
sounds very Dutch, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Paul Verhoeven cast him.
Now, whether Verhoeven's actually making a statement about the Aryan race sort of making their way down to Argentina post-war, who knows?
No, I think that was. I do think that was part of it. This in a lot of the kind of trivia and stuff that I was taking off the internet about this, is there was this idea that white people moved into South America in this vision of the future and took over these areas and basically adopted the cultures, like including the names of these people.
Oh my
like, sort of whitewashed entire continents.
Yeah.
The thing that is also so amazing about this film is the way it sort of predicted, I guess, what would you call it? It's almost like social media or digital engagement, to the point where, so if people are watching a video of this, you'd see that guys, he's titled himself "Would You Like to Know More," which is the kind of connective tissue of the film. These little newsreels and stuff which prompt you to move your mouse around. Would you like to know more? Do you remember this guy in 1997 when this film came out? About a year later, One Nation in Australia started to have its ascent. and they started using promotional material for Pauline Hanson using the tagline, "Would you like to
Would
know
you like
more?"
to know
But
more? Holy shit.
unironically, do you remember that?
I'd forgotten all about that. Oh, and the thing of it is, they're still around. It clearly worked. People did want to
Yeah,
know more. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I do remember that back in the late
Well,
90s, we thought Pauline Hanson was like a blip, and One
yeah,
Nation was this, very much flash in the pan kind of gag, and it's still around, and it's still gaining power. It's so
yeah.
unusual.
So I guess it's almost like clickbait in a way. They were it's sort of it had a vision of where we would go in terms of like clickbait headlines and
Mm,
just getting small snippets of information. It does that's where it shares a lot in common with Robocop. They use the kind of
yeah.
newsreels to satirize the society that they're in, but also a great way of doing exposition, real tongue in cheek kind of
Short form
stuff.
media. It predicted short form media, didn't it? It
Yeah, that's
predicted
right.
TikTok essentially, because I mean, all the stuff that you see, all these little bits and pieces, there's no time to get any deeper insight into the information. It's basically, we caught a murderer this morning, we tried him this afternoon, we're going to execute him tonight on TV, film at 11, and it's done. And then, you cut to Neil Patrick Harris, vivisecting some insect or something, and that's over in 10 seconds. You don't get time to think about it. You just get the gist, and that's it. Yeah, it's really, really smart in that regard. Just it
Yes.
predicted our short attention spans.
So what do you make of? Let's talk about the it's not really a love triangle, is it? It's more of a love
Mm,
square. So Johnny Rico loves Carmen.
yes.
Carmen kind of loves Johnny Rico, but she also loves who's
Carmen's got
Patrick
her eyes on
Mul.
the prize. Yeah.
Yeah, she wants to be a pilot, but she's also kind of in love with what's the Xander,
Xander
Patrick Muldoon.
Barcalau. It's an incredible name. Played
That's
by
gonna be
Melrose Places, Patrick Muldoon, or
yeah,
Beverly Hills 902. He was definitely an Aaron
Captain.
Spelling boy.
Yeah, Captain Pout. He is like
Captain
him and
Pat.
Luke Perry in the '90s would have been competing for the most wrinkled forehead when it came to their acting. Like
That's the thing.
90% pout and wrinkled forehead. That's his
I'm wondering
style.
what the hell he's meant to be. I mean, Casper Van Dien and Denise Richards and Dina Meyer in a stretch I can buy as graduating high school.
Oh my God, no! They all look way too old.
Well, yeah. But is Patrick Muldoon meant to be the same age as them?
Yes,
Because
yes, he looks another 10 years above them, doesn't
he
he?
really does. He really does. And then, you've got the, so Johnny loves Carmen. Carmen's very ambitious, but also falls for Xander. Meanwhile, Dizzy, played by Dina Meyer,
Yeah,
is really carrying a very flaming and obvious torch for Johnny Rico. Just will not let up.
yeah.
Don't play hard to get, then, Dizzy.
Stalkery levels. Like she even enlists as a
Yeah.
reason to follow Johnny.
And she has no character and no personality other than her desire for Johnny Rico. That's it.
And I think it's a shame because of all
She's
the
the
actors, she's probably the best. I think
She's the one with the most out of that quartet. Absolutely, she's the
Yeah.
one with the most sort of zest, to her.
charisma and she's got a bit of sass. Like she's the coolest character. And then spoiler alert, probably has the. Well, I mean, I guess what's worse is it getting stabbed in the back by a giant bug or having your brain sucked out like Xander does.
I think I'd prefer stabbed in the back.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Brain sucking out just looks. It looks nightmarish.
It really does look nightmarish, but there's an element.
To the credit of these young actors, they sell pain really well.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. They all sell because they all get put through the ringer a lot, and
it's hard to know too. And I haven't been able to find any definitive conclusions on this and stuff I've read online or whatever. Is whether or not the cast were aware of the tongue-in-cheek nature, because Casper Van Dien. Like he commits 100%. Like I did read a couple interviews with him where he was like, "Oh yeah, like we knew," but is it a case of he committed and then after the fact was like, "Oh yeah, I knew it was tongue in cheek." The fact that he's done like 4 sequels makes me think that he didn't know until after the fact. I mean, do you remember there was a Casper Van Dien very brief moment after this film? It was like he did Tarzan, then he did Sleepy Hollow. So miscast in Sleepy Hollow.
That's
like the
right.
only, I must imagine that Warner Brothers held a gun to Tim Burton's head and said, "Look, this kid's just done a big movie. We want to push him because he's just terrible."
You keep making Johnny Depp into a weirdo. We know you love your beautiful freaks, Tim. We need a legitimate hunk. One hunk.
Just give us one
real hunk. Yeah. I'll tell you what, though. I mean, the research I've done on Casper Van Dien, he had a bit part in The Rules of Attraction, the adaptation of the. It didn't make the final cut,
Right.
but in
Bret Easton Ellis.
Roger Avery's adaptation of the Bret Easton
Yeah.
Ellis novel,
Yeah.
and it's a deleted scene. But the main character in Rules of Attraction is Sean Bateman, the younger brother of American Psycho Patrick Bateman. And they have a scene where Sean Bateman, played by the late James Van Der Beek, is giving a call to his older brother, and it's Casper Van Dien playing Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, right.
He's actually
That's
not
good
bad.
casting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he really looks the part. I mean, Christian Bale, of course, creates sort of the definitive portrayal, but you sort of look at Casper Van Dien and go, this is what Patrick Bateman would probably actually look like and sound like.
Yes.
Again,
Well,
he's
Patrick
using
Bateman
that.
is it like an empty vessel, right? That's the thing. That's
Yeah.
what makes him a psychopath. Is there's nothing to him.
Yeah,
Christian
and
Bale
Casper
does
Van Dien's using that kind of again, that kind of affect that he has.
Yeah, what I was going to say is like that is Casper Van Dien, whereas I feel
Yeah.
like Christian Bale does a good acting performance to make you believe that there's no soul inside him, whereas Casper Van Dien just has to be on camera and you're like, oh yeah.
It's one of those things that keeps coming up, but sorry to sidetrack
No.
a little bit, but it's one of those things that comes up periodically on social media. It's like, the rest of the cast of American Psycho thought Christian Bale was ridiculous and they mocked his performance behind his back. They didn't realize until they saw the actual footage and saw it all cut together. It's like, oh no, this guy's a genius. He had the best idea and he followed it through completely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Casper Van Dien, he had a moment and he still works. I mean, he's been working pretty much nonstop in B movies and VOD action stuff.
But it sort of comes back to that thing we've said in previous episodes about, like, they make sequels to Paul Verhoeven films, which seem to completely miss the point of the original ones.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, let's just have them shooting bugs. That's with maybe just a tiny sprinkling of satire on top. Let's not commit fully to the satire or any sort of deeper philosophical or ideological investigation here. Primarily, let's have them shooting bugs. But what Verhoeven gets right with this first Starship Troopers is that he gets the balance just right. I mean, he has all that ideological and philosophical anti-fascist stuff, but he doesn't shortchange you on the let's blow up some bugs, let's kill some insects, let's annihilate some arachnids. He does all of that.
The action is genuinely like, I find the arachnids, like the design of them, to be genuinely upsetting. Like I tried to go online to find some detailed, like, is there some artwork or concept designs where I could sort of see what they look like, because they're sort of hard. A bit like Edge of Tomorrow. They're sort of hard to define. Like, you understand they have four legs, but like, where's their mouth? Those mandibles, how does that work? Do they, you have that one weird shot where, the bulging sort of eye that gets shot out by that crazy GI in a very platoon-esque kind of freak out scene. But they are a really upsetting design. And then the incredible opening, that sort of cold opening of the D-Day landing, where the creatures come out and absolutely like just demolish all the troopers. It's a really great, and it sort of feels like obviously a lot of similarities to Aliens in terms of the idea of like crack commandos suddenly being out of their depth against this group of aliens. But these troopers, like, you felt like the Marines in Aliens were really, really good at their job. They just found themselves in circumstances that was something. These just seem like idiots. Like,
these guys are just cannon
like
fodder. Yeah,
bootlicking idiots who got tricked into a war that they really shouldn't be fighting, and then they just get slaughtered. And it's genuinely upsetting. Like, that's the thing about Verhoeven that I think, when people sort of critique the violence and stuff, is it's meant to be upsetting. Like, it's meant to rock you, and I think the problem is we're so used to seeing genre films or sci-fi or whatever, where it's all just fantasy and fun and, let's just shoot these things and there's no consequences. Whereas in this, there seems to be real consequences, to the point where the sound design, like when they're rattling off like round after round, like you're hearing it's not like infinite laser guns. It's like this, there is a cost to this. There are empty shells dispersing. They're running it. The mags are running low. There's all this kind of like almost like genuine war considerations in a film about shooting giant bugs.
It's absolutely the case. Yeah. I mean, I'm astonished at how, visceral it gets. Um, it's almost like in modern action movies, we've returned to the days of like the 50s and 60s, where someone would get shot in the chest. You'd see a little bit of a squib, like a little bit of red paint on the chest. Oh, they're dead. And that's it. But somewhere along the lines, like, no, we'd better show the consequences of this, either for shits and giggles, or to have a larger point. It's like, well, violence has consequences.
And they literally foreshadowed that, right, in the very one of the opening scenes in the classroom where you've got one-armed Michael Ironside. And if you listen, because it's easy to be distracted by the subplot of the love story or whatever, but I really paid attention. And basically, Michael Ironside's speech is why violence solves problems. Like, that is the message. And that kind of lays out the entire kind of philosophy of the film, which is like, might makes right.
Right.
You solve your problems with violence. Everyone just takes a number. If you die, you die. We just the next man up. It's just really
like,
horrible, nihilistic vision of the future.
He's using Hiroshima as like a lesson of, no, we did the right thing there.
Yeah. There was no Oppenheimer kind of like ponderous, what have I done?
No introspection or anything like that. Something else I think is hilarious, that every adult you see that is trying to lead this younger generation, I was about to say in the right direction, but in a direction. They're all maimed. None of them, they're either burnt horribly or they're missing limbs. I think Dean Norris, who we mentioned earlier, I think he's in Total Recall, and he shows up again in this, looking 55 when he's probably about 30. But I think he might have
5 years older than Casper Van Dien when they filmed that
my
scene.
gosh, yeah. Not all of them are maimed, but so many are.
Yeah.
I mean, Clancy Brown has got all his limbs, and I guess so does Dean Norris. But yeah, so many of them have, like, they've lost an arm, they've lost both legs, they've got half their faces burned away. This is the logical endpoint for these characters if they continue. If they want to be a citizen, if they buy into the propaganda that's being sold them. I love that whole thing about citizenship versus just being a civilian. How being a citizen then allows you to get allows you more rights. Well, not even more. It gives you the basic rights, essentially. Well, I mean, don't they talk about when the kids are all, you've got that very exposition-y character who says, I'm a writer, I'm going to get all your backstories. Yeah. So, some guy says, oh, I want to go to Harvard, but I can't afford it. The Federation will pay for me if I give service.
Even the characters,
I want to have kids.
Johnny's parents, who, I mean, I'm not sure if I'd go as far as saying they're pacifists, but they're certainly not in the military and trying to dissuade him from joining the military. And what happens to them? They get wiped out. So it really is like there is no room for kind of like gray areas. It sort of just lays it out for you. You either choose this or you choose death. Which is,
you're dead either way. But you either fight or you're collateral damage.
You want to live forever? You know what I mean? Like that is the message of the film.
By the way, it's funny that they say you want to live forever, but you notice that when Johnny and Carmen and their friend Carl, played by Neil Patrick Harris, they're all signing up at the start once they've graduated. You hear the vow that they've got to take, and it's like, I promise I will serve the Federation for no less than 2 years and as long as they may need me. You're never getting out.
Yeah.
Because you're in a forever war here, much like, one might say the United States was in the come the turn of the 21st century. But it really is a rigged game. I mean, whether they seduce you with propaganda, or once they get you in with the propaganda, it's like you're locked in. You're part of the machinery now, bud.
I mean, there's a couple of moments in it too, in those do you want to know more interstitials that I was like, oh, isn't that so brilliant? And they really foreshadowed the way the media is going. Yeah. There's that scene where it's like the counterpoint argument between two experts, and one person's saying, I believe these creatures have intelligence. There might be a higher, like a brain bug or whatever. And the other guy just mocking him. And it's like, oh my God, that is every like news show now, is just two people coming on and yelling at each other over a panel. And this idea that this is entertainment, like what I was going to say a nightmarish vision of the future, but that is like that. We've turned politics into entertainment, and that's what people want to see. Like it's like the Jubilee surrounded thing. We just want to see people arguing. Is it actually progressing? Are we getting anywhere? Are we learning anything about opposing views? No, that's not the point. Is we just want to see people arguing.
Yeah, and I think there's only maybe 2 times in the entire movie, maybe 3, when someone says, apparently we actually started this. The bugs just want to, live in peace. And they're so far away from us as well. I think they
Yeah.
show that at the very start. It's like, Glendathu, and you are here. And it's like opposite sides of the galaxy. We could just ignore these guys entirely. But I think, someone says, like that reporter who gets absolutely ripped asunder at the start, but he's, on the mic saying, some people say that the bugs are, pacifists and we should leave them alone. Johnny Rico just comes in and says, I'm from Buenos Aires and I say kill them all. And then you've also got the counterpoint thing where that guy says, yap, 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 yelling at... no one's paying any attention to the idea that, we might be complicit in this or we might be perpetuating it.
Or are you aware of the theory that Carmen is responsible for the conflict? Have you seen that theory?
So, I have not seen it. Tell me more. I would like to know more about this.
Would you like to know more? So when she and Xander, they take that the large ship out into outer space for the first time, and the asteroid comes towards them, and they take evasive action. They actually knock the asteroid, which sends it, and then it goes and strikes Buenos Aires, which triggers the kind of global conflict. So there is a theory that if Carmen had not been flying around there, she had not knocked the asteroid. Maybe it wasn't even headed for Earth. Maybe it was headed somewhere else. That
maybe it was a warning shot.
Started the quagmire that the troopers now find themselves in
with her reckless ways. Yeah,
with her reckless ways, her shameless ambition. I mean, Carmen has done no favors in this film, is she? Like the way she's
kind of cold-blooded.
Yeah,
I mean, one might say absolute girl boss. One might say, cold-blooded.
Well, she just seems to her allegiance to her allegiance to Johnny seems kind of convenient at best. She's like in that football game.
She's dating the captain. She's dating the captain of the football team. Yeah,
but
she's flirting with Xander midway through.
Flirting and halfway through the game, and then can't understand why Johnny. And you go and kind of get the sense that maybe she's one of those girls who doesn't mind seeing two guys fight over her. Like she doesn't seem to hate it that much. She doesn't really intervene. But she's not done any favors. But I actually think that Dizzy, Dina Meyer, I think she is so good, especially in those intimate scenes. Like they have one kind of lovemaking scene, and she finally gets her guy. And you genuinely, like, it's so cheesy and so Verhoeven-y, like it's just like completely over the top and licking nipples and all that kind of stuff that he loves to throw in. But you genuinely...
Such a horny guy.
He's such a horny guy, but everything before that has been so melodramatic and so ridiculous. But I do sort of feel like there is a genuine moment
sincerity
there.
For that moment.
The sincerity. And she finally gets her guy, which actually, it shouldn't, considering how much fun we've made of this cast and these characters, her death shouldn't impact as much as it does. But it does because of that precise moment. She finally got the guy, and you feel like, okay, maybe this is the direction they're going to head, and these two will be a couple. And then for Johnny to then be like, oh, Dizzy's dead. Oh, I'm going to go rescue Carmen. And for Carmen to be like, oh, the guy that I turned my back on Johnny for got his brain sucked out, but Johnny's here now. It's like, these are the two worst people. Like Xander and Dizzy were the two good guys.
I got to say, they are very shallow and superficial people, which is why they're so easily led, or why they buy the propaganda and the message, why they buy into it so wholeheartedly. I mean, Johnny does Johnny's sort of on the fence to begin with. I mean, it's probably the most honest moment in the film when at the very start when they've got that classroom and Michael Ironside's trying to sort of induct them. And Johnny can recite the Federation playbook. He's like, oh, yeah, I know the difference between a civilian and a citizen. And Michael Ironside's like, yeah, but do you know what that means? He goes, no, I don't know. And I don't know if it's what I want to do. I actually, I'm happy for my folks to sort of, bankroll my trip to Zaguma Beach or whatever it is. But no, he's led by his dick. Yeah, he joins the mobile infantry because he wants to impress Carmen or just to sort of stay in that atmosphere.
Responsible for one of his platoon getting killed in the war games practice that they do.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I was
He took his helmet
this.
off. What an idiot!
I must admit, in the middle of a live firefight. That's right. I mean, you should have just told the big dumb guys, like, get off the field. You're fucking things up for us. As I said, not the just bright enough, but yeah, as I said, he keeps getting kicked upstairs.
Yeah,
I think what I love is this movie's actually a recruitment video. I mean, it's it's something you'd show the Johnny Ricos of the world to try and get them invested. And
Yeah.
at the end, you see it. You've got all this new generation of cannon fodder who are like, yeah, we need soldiers, but we're gonna win. You see just layers and layers and layers of just poor schmucks who are going to get sent to their death in this
Yeah.
ongoing war.
It's funny too, like, when they do, it's like it's the public messaging about like how you can support the war effort. There's that sequence where the kids are stomping the bugs, and that
Oh my
mother
God.
like cheering maniacally, like as a kid.
Most valuable player, that woman, that actor.
Brilliant.
On it for like maybe 2 seconds, but just an absolute master of Verhoeven-esque frenzy. She's so caught up in the bloodlust.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And Blanche from the Golden Girls. What's Rue McClanahan? Is that
Rue
her name?
McClanahan as the science teacher. Trying to giving a bit of a. It's very smart.
Once
with the exposition,
again,
this movie.
A wounded science teacher, a one-eyed science teacher. Obviously,
yeah, she's the one.
The art department had such a good time in this film spraying the cast with goo. Like, there's so many scenes in which, like, someone gets green goo or they have to handle, like, pig
orange
intestines
goo,
or something like that. It's so gross. Like, it really, they have, even the design of the brain bug, which manages to be both, like, encompass both male and female genitalia. It looks like a testicle, but with a vagina on it.
And
how
this
they
huge
managed
phallic,
to do that. Well, with the phallus as
spike
well.
that comes out. Yeah, and that's the one bug I think that is vaguely, I always mispronounce this word, but anthropomorphized. You know what I mean?
Anthropomorphized.
Yes, given vaguely human qualities. And it's nowhere near human, but it looks like it's sort of got eyes. It's sort of conveying some sense of emotion. I mean, the rest of the bugs are just, you mentioned Alien before. I mean, even the aliens in Alien and Aliens and the Alien franchise. The xenomorphs, forgive me, have sort of vaguely human characteristics. I mean, it's got a human sort of physiology. It's got arms, legs, and a head. Yeah, with the bugs in Starship Troopers, like, I'm not exactly, are you all arms and legs? I don't know what you are. I mean, you...
Yeah. Are they attack dogs or are they like, because I guess it's similar to the xenomorphs, they're hive animals, right? Like they have a leader. They seem to be warrior bugs. There seem to be worker bugs. There's the cute little chariot bugs that, that bring the brain.
And there's the big tank. They actually call it the tanker, the thing that comes out.
Don't you think that there is a sort of, as the longer the film goes on, you do just see little glimpses of this is a defensive effort on the part of the bugs, like the way that when Carmen and Xander go when they find themselves in the hive, the way they back off, like they're not just completely mindless. There's a strategy behind them. They're operating to a certain thing, and the way that they are quite selfless in the way that they will be cannon fodder. Like they'll storm that compound, which is such a brilliant sequence. Like if I imagine if you had like arachnophobia or like a fear of insects, whatever that's called, that would be quite a hard film to watch with those swarming, crawling bugs. Like I don't love spiders, and I just think that sequence but then at the same time, I'm like, look at these heroic bugs like storming the compound. There is something admirable about it at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when you see just an absolute swarm of them coming over the hill and charging towards it, that's downright terrifying. Yeah, it's also kind of hilarious as well. I mean, the fact that you've got these different varieties of bugs, you've got the aerial ones as well, and particularly that scene at the fort or whatever it is. I forgot what they call it, but you've got the general there who's absolutely shell-shocked. Is convinced they're going to die, and he has to get slapped back into sense by Michael Ironside. I love how he just gets 100% destroyed by some wounded flying bug that just flies into him. You see this smear of red left on the floor where he used to be. Everyone's just laughing at it. Everyone thinks it's hilarious. It's so much great stuff in this movie. I mean, but I was reminded of, sorry to get French and pretentious for a moment, but I think it was
let's do it.
Francois Truffaut who said that you can't really make an anti-war movie because war itself is so sort of cinematic. And I think that's what Verhoeven realizes here. He's like, I'm against this whole idea of propaganda and and brainwashing the next generation to just being cannon fodder. But at the same time, I've got to
Looks
make an
cool.
action movie here. I've got to make a war movie here. And, these action sequences are incredibly cool and incredibly pulse pounding.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember distinctly one specific review that was so um, disgusted by this film, like found the whole thing so reprehensible. Like not only the message of the film, which the reviewer found fascistic, and the violence, but I think they read very deeply. And I just want to see if you ever perceived this, because I did not
Hmm.
perceive this moment being this way. But they talked about a moment in which you see a trooper sodomized by an alien. Do you know the scene I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. Because I was like, I remember reading that review and then seeing the film and being like, where's the, like, I was looking
Okay.
for this, like,
Where's the bug
real
sodomy?
horrific deliverance, moment with a bug. The sequence before the tanker bug scene. So when that soldier gets taken by the dragonfly
Oh,
bug,
the one that Michael Ironside shoots?
that's right. And so if you slow it down, you see that the bug draws back like a spike and drives it through. But from my view, it looks like it drives it through the chest, like it hits him
That
through the
sounds
spine.
like that sounds like a reviewer problem rather than a movie problem. I think
Yes.
that
But that's
I
the thing, though, that Verhoeven does to certain reviewers, I believe. I mean, in our next
oh
episode, we're
yeah.
going to be talking about Showgirls, and I think it's really going to be more about the reviewers than the film, I think, when it comes to
Sure.
discussing that one. But I think that's
Very much a Rorschach test, Showgirls, yeah.
yeah, but it's a similar instance in which people are like, this thing offended me, and now I'm perceiving offense across the board now. Like, not only do I, believe that you are a degenerate in terms of what you're promoting to young men, but I also think you're
Mm.
and I think Verhoeven is a bit of a sexual deviant, but maybe he draws the line at interspecies sodomy.
I think he does. I think look, he's an absolute provocateur, which I think is why we love him. But
Mm,
no, certainly I that is not something I took away from that particular sequence in all the times that I've watched it. I think a lot. I think when it came to the response to this film back in the day, and maybe even later on, you had people who were like either they're viewing it as purely as a war movie and one with a kind of fascistic bent to it, or they went the other end as like, okay, Paul, we get it. Yeah, it's a satire. You're a little heavy-handed with the satire. I say to my shame, I might have been on that end of the spectrum when I first saw this. Go, yes, Paul, I get it. I mean, I was a real sort of young, pretentious movie reviewer at that time going,
yeah.
yes, we've all seen Robocop, Paul. It's satire. You don't realize how actually great the satire is until you watch it a few times and realize, oh, the obviousness is kind of the point.
Well, the fact that it's endured and it feels just as relevant now as it did 30 years ago, that is it's yeah, it's obvious satire, and he's hitting on things that, yeah, most kind of, self-aware people would realize. But the fact that it endures means
Yeah,
there's
and
going to
the
be
fact that
new
people,
generations of people who are
yeah,
like, oh my God, like, and I don't know if I picked up entirely on the satire like when I was at uni when I first saw it. Like, I mean, I picked up on the satire, but I wasn't.
mm,
I think I fell more on the side of, oh, this is a film that is celebrating in the same way that you could look at Aliens the same way and go, isn't it cool to
sure.
be a Marine and fire a big gun and all that kind of
Oh
stuff? And it's like, oh, this is a metaphor for the Vietnam War,
yeah.
or whatever it is. Um, but
But
I'll be,
I think
yeah,
no, go on, please.
I was going to say, I'll be interested to see in the same way they've failed to reboot Total Recall and RoboCop, if
Mm,
anyone would go near this, because especially, with current events, I think there is the level of kind of disdain and suspicion around military intervention is probably at an all-time high. So I don't know how you could possibly do this and have people want to see it, because even if you say, hey, look, it's a satire on war, I think people are warred out
mm,
at the
yeah.
moment. You know what I mean? So I don't know if there was plans to remake it, because on one level you're like, oh, this is almost a perfect thing. Like you could totally win the audience over in two ways. There's people who just love bang bang films, and then there's people who like a deeper sci-fi. Maybe if you get like a Denis Villeneuve or someone to come
Mm.
on board and make it, but maybe that ship has sailed. I don't know.
I think so. Like, I'm going to go with Wikipedia here, which, as we know, is always accurate. But
Yeah.
in the early 2010s, it was reported that the film series could be rebooted to more closely align with Heinlein's novel. There have been no
Ah,
updates since 2016. Verhoeven
yeah.
was unhappy with the concept. And in 2021, Casper Van Dien said that a television adaptation was being considered by Sony Pictures Television, although
Ah,
talks had stalled because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Oh my God. Hang on. New note. A
yeah.
remake was confirmed in March 2025 that will be written and directed by Neil Blomkamp of District 9 fame.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like, a bit like Edgar Wright.
District
A bit like Edgar
yeah,
Wright. I
District
always go back to
9.
his first film and go, well, like he did it
Yeah.
once. Maybe he can do it again. Yeah,
Yeah, but
District
let's just
9 is,
ignore Chappie. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, ignore everything pretty much since District 9. Yeah, it'd be, I would be interested to see how you would do it, like how you do it because the satire of media uh and like clickbait and all this kind of things we've discussed. Like, how do you satirize that? Like that, you can't. Like, it's just in the culture now. It'd be interesting to see how you would,
Yeah.
what areas would be satire, what areas would be action, and how you'd balance those two things. But I think the big thing is, I feel like there is less of an appetite to see those kind of films now, like
Mm.
military films, than ever before.
I think that's definitely the case. But the other thing is, I think the real world has kind of gone beyond satire at this stage. Um,
Yeah, you're
yeah, a
right.
lot of a
We're
lot of it.
living a Verhoeven film.
We kind of are. I think that's one of the reasons that we wanted to talk about these movies is because they
Yeah.
feel so relevant. Yeah, I mean, we often think, oh, we're smarter than Starship Troopers now, but so much of our media actually feels like the stuff that's being talked about in here. You'd think that anyone who's sort of responsible for the dissemination of media or anyone who's sort of in high positions of power would look at movies like this and go, oh, they're on to us. What is it? I mean, did you watch Andor, the Star Wars
Yes.
TV series
Yeah, I watched the
Andor?
first
Yeah.
series, yeah.
Yeah, there was an interview that that series creator Tony Gilroy did
Gilroy, yeah.
after the series finished, where he was saying we didn't have to use our imagination too much when it came sort of talking about the fascistic nature of the empire. We just followed the playbook that
Yeah.
so many regimes in the real world actually use. You know, when people were saying, "Oh, you predicted this, you predicted that," it's like we didn't really. We just we looked at what was happening, or we looked at what had happened, and that
Mm.
continues to happen. And I think that's the same with Verhoeven in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I
So
think
whether
any media, especially genre media like TV shows or films that are have a satirical bent to them, like The Boys, for instance, the
yeah,
problem is Homelander and Trump as similes.
basically like yeah.
And then it gets too on the nose, right? Because they're like, oh, now he's saying build a wall or whatever the fuck that they're aping, and I think that we as audiences just get exhausted by that. Like
That's right.
I think you can have satire in your escapism, but if you're just telling us what we already know, rather than oh yeah, of course I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah,
It's kind of like when they made the V for Vendetta film, and they moved it from Thatcher to being about George W. Bush. And it's
that's
like,
right. Yeah.
yeah, right. It's kind of, I mean, sure, there are similarities, but it's not the
Mm.
point of the original comic book, and it just sort of feels like you are hitting us over the head with something.
That's the way it feels now, doesn't it? I mean, yeah, The Boys is a really good comp. The Boys kind of feels like the modern day version of Starship Troopers in a lot of ways. It's like
Yeah.
we're presenting something that's so obvious, whether it's yeah, as you say, that Homelander.
Corporatization of
Yeah,
media,
yeah.
like,
Even was it in The Boys where they had like the female superheroes sort of all banding together just as they did in Avengers Endgame or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
With that line, girls get it done. It's like,
yeah,
oh, that's right, girls do get it done, don't they?
yeah,
Thank you for the lip service. I mean, you laugh for a few minutes, but it doesn't really have much staying power beyond that.
yeah.
Um, I don't know if there are many filmmakers working at a high level and certainly working with the kind of budget that a Starship Troopers would require or demand or, have to have.
Well, the
Uh,
TV makes the most sense because
it
that is
does,
where
yeah.
you'd get the budget and the time to explore these ideas. But I don't know. It doesn't excite me, the idea of a Starship Trooper, because I just feel like
I feel this
the in
works just as well now as it
Yeah.
did back in 97. It was 97, right? This is 97.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think the message of this episode is just go back and watch Starship Troopers. We
Pretty
don't
much
need
the
no
go.
damn remakes.
No. Should we talk? Can we talk a bit about Neil Patrick Harris real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think we gave him his due respect in this because he's again
Such
they're
an
kind of hitting you
asshole.
over the head. Terrible fellow. There's no likable characters in this.
It's very almost one of his first scenes is humiliating his so-called friend in front of all his classmates.
Yeah, he hypnotizes his rat or his little ferret to go,
Terrorize
run up his mum's leg, and then he becomes a literal Nazi. He's actually dressed like a Nazi. And you can see the humanity sort of leaching out of him more and more and more. You're looking more and more pale, got the black circles under the eyes every time you see him. And he has, again, it's obvious, but probably the most pivotal and most heartbreaking line in the movie is when the brain bug gets, drawn out of its cave. And telepathic Carl, Neil Patrick Harris, puts its hands on its head and goes, "It's afraid, it's afraid," and everyone's cheering. It's like we've inspired fear our enemy. We've created shock and awe. Well done, us.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and
the
then
fact
last
that
time
it's
you see
Doogie
that
Howser
brain
doing
bug,
this,
it's being tortured with some horrendous-looking instrument,
getting violated. Oh
yeah.
no! Another. Sorry, it's all little bits and pieces here. I wish I had a more sort of cohesive through line argument, but I love how they'll occasionally have those little interstitials you're talking about, whether it's a cow getting absolutely devoured by an arachnid or that brain bug getting penetrated by. Occasionally they'll throw up like a censored sticker over it, like too hot for TV.
Yes.
And then almost immediately they'll cut to just absolute vivisected corpses.
That's right.
It's like you've got no continuity with what the people should or should not see here.
Yeah.
but they will show like actually, no, maybe that's the point because after the destruction of Buenos Aires, and they're showing all this, heartrending footage of look what they did to our beautiful city. They deliberately cut to like a dead dog under some debris, and they're not shying away. There's a dog with like its tongue hanging out. It's like this dog's definitely dead. Cut to the producer John Davison in a cameo saying, "The only good bug is a dead bug." It's like,
that's right.
We're just watching propaganda from go to woe. It's fantastic.
Well, it's the way also to like. You can understand why people have such a visceral reaction to Verhoeven films, especially when the moments that we've been trained as movie consumers and audiences to go, "Oh, here's a moment of humanity," and then he just pulls the rug. Like that scene I mentioned before where, they find the injured bug that's still alive and they go up to it and you see its eye moving around. And in any other movie, that would be a moment for them to go, well, maybe we're not so different, you and I. Like maybe you've got a family, maybe you're just but no, this GI just blows out that eyeball like in a most disgusting, confrontational, horrendous way. And, the message is clear, which is like, well, war just turns people into monsters.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe, Guy, in fact, it is us who are the true monsters.
On that deeply philosophical note, Charlie, should we close out our discussion of Starship Troopers? Go watch it, everybody.
It's brilliant. It's so worth watching. It so holds up.
And in an hilarious touch, available on the Disney Plus service.
Brilliant. Irony upon irony. We're going to be back next week to round up. We've done our dystopian trilogy, but we felt there was a couple more films worth mentioning that sort of also were predictive of where we were headed as a society. That is Hollow Man and Showgirls for very, very different reasons. So please join us again next week as we conclude this series at the video store. Guy, where can people find you?
You can hear me on the Four Finger Discount Network, where co-host Brendan Dando and I talk about The Simpsons, South Park, Seinfeld, Bob's Burgers, Futurama, all manner of shows and all manner of pop culture ephemera. You can also hear me on The Movie Guide with Moulton and Davis, where legendary film critic Leonard Moulton and myself discuss films new and old. And if you're still on social media, you can find me on Twitter/X at Robert Guy Davis.
All that info will be in the episode notes as always. We'll be back again next week. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Guy Davis. Do you want to live forever?